B2B Cambodia, the portal for business use in Cambodia.
So being in the industry, how did Vietnam sell itself to foreign investors? Because we have this problem in Cambodia. We have probably at that stage also where you were talking about in the early 2000s, we have a very illiquid market. Cambodia hasn't been really able to sell itself to foreign investors. And it hasn't really been able to get a domestic demand market. Although we have continually more accounts registering, we don't have those accounts buying.
Right.
So how did Vietnam, in those early stages, generate interest from the domestic population, because retail investors being critical, and sell itself to international investors?
In Vietnam, I've come across, well, we call them retail, but they're high net worth people. These are elite people, largely, I mean, almost always self-made in terms of sort of first generation wealth. And they are not unsophisticated. They're actually asking me very, very sophisticated questions. They're asking about the business. You know, they might not care about discount rates and these theoretical issues, but they're asking me about margins. They're asking me about competitive moats. You know, the smart things that institutional clients also ask about. They probably care more than the institutional clients do, though, because it's their money.
Sure. Yeah.
So I've been impressed actually with a certain strata of Vietnam retail clients. So they're actually quite sophisticated.
And are they looking at famous brands, for instance? They know the brand, they know the company, so they a little comfort level there to say, okay, I know this company. But really, on your side, it's about the valuation, whether it has upside. And you have those discussions.
Yeah, correct.
So the brand of the company itself is quite important.
Without a doubt. And when you say brand, I think it's not necessarily sort of the brand of like a consumer goods brand, but rather the brand of the management, the brand of the board of directors. You know, who actually runs this company, and do I trust these people or not? I think that's key.
So if you were to point to three things that were very successful for Vietnam reaching out to the international investors, what would those three things be, possibly that Cambodia can learn from?
Okay, I think probably having the authorities be fully behind this effort to boost the
authorities being the regulator, or more high level like the Ministry of Economy and Finance, or even sort of up to the Prime Minister's office?
I would go to the top.
Prime Minister's office.
Yeah, because everything sort of emanates.
So the Prime Minister in Vietnam was a champion for the capital markets.
Absolutely, and still is today. So that's I think very critical to have that buy-in from the highest level of the government to promote this. Second, I think the corporates themselves, as I said, I think corporate governance, investor relations, transparency, willingness to engage with the street is absolutely critical. And I think third, well, obviously having a very solid story to tell makes it a lot easier to engage and to entice institutions, foreign institutions in particular, to.
And that was the economic growth story of Vietnam.
Absolutely, yeah.
So on the retail market, we talked about it a little bit, but retail being important for depth in the market, liquidity in the market, we want those retail investors to be trading actively to create liquidity in the market. This is something that's been a big challenge for us in Cambodia. What would be the one thing you would say was successful in developing the retail market?
We had this COVID, episode, March 2020 when that started, and of course markets tanked, and everybody was worried about staying alive or not, and everybody was working from home. So what's really interesting is that during that period between 2020 up to the end of 2021, the turnover in the market went from 150, 200 million a day to 1.5 to 2 billion a day. And what had occurred during all this was, well, first of all, obviously it helped to have share prices rising. Momentum creates momentum.
Were people bored at home when they were doing day trading?
That's exactly
really?
Correct. And what facilitated this was the advent of online Know Your Customer, KYC, which hadn't not existed previously. Suddenly, you can just go online and you're sitting on your couch, you don't want to go outside because you're worried about catching this horrible plague, but you can just type in some information, show your ID, and bam, you've got a new game you can play. Yes, and simultaneous with KYC, online KYC, was the adoption of margin finance, which I'm not sure if you have that in Cambodia or not.
I believe we do.
Okay.
I think the issue with us in Cambodia is just understanding the basics of the market itself. So this is our challenge. Our challenge is just to really say what the basics of owning a stock means. And this is really what we can learn from other markets, how that retail market was developed where people did understand.